Hello, my name is Milo Polson. I selected Minecrafting Architecture as my final project, and I chose the Pont to Gard, which was an aqueduct built in ancient Rome that gave water to the ground colony of Nemes or Nemausus. And as you can see, these are my screenshots of my thought process and how I went about structuring and building everything and laying out things with like wool or trying to come up with my palettes and things like that, and I will go into further detail in the tour that I do shortly. Thank you. This is my final tour of the Pont de Gard, and first things first, I guess I'll run you through general thought process of using colored wool to sort of outline things, like getting the idea of the shape of the arches and how the water flowed, and you can see a little bit over here I used the green to create the mountain-ish or the hill shapes, if you want to call them that, and I spent some time going through what I'd used to build because I kind of thought this brick texture would be good, but it didn't really work out like looking at it from a distance. And this bone texture I was going to use for the rocks, but it didn't mix well with the other ones I had available to me. And when creating the water, I added details of the interior to make it look darker than if I just left it by itself. And these are the materials I ended up using. This is all for the arches and the aqueduct. And this was for creating the sides, the rocks, and the hill areas. And the aqueduct itself, I tried to create a sort of perspective effect in a way, if you want to think about it like that, of the arches are wide and then they get to be different, slightly different shapes the other direction as you go. Like, if you look at it head on, it's a bit more obvious that they aren't quite the same. The ones up top are all uniform pretty much, but these ones get different shaped because if you look at it from an angle, it looks like they almost all are the same shape. And as for the details of the arches themselves, since the actual aqueduct was constructed from limestone, which isn't easily constructed in this game, but I could kind of get the effect with the wood colors and the different methods of making the arches sort of flow better and the shading that creates depth. And I was able to, I kind of thought this would look like a keystone in a way of just getting that little detail. I couldn't quite get the exact shape of like the Vusur, I think it's pronounced, but I tried to get a general angle of how it would be like flowing together, and then the various stains from age and weathering, and smoothing out the arches best I could from different angles, and generally just creating an environment to go around it as well, so it wasn't just freestanding. And if we go up here, you can see the little pathway that would have gone along here, and then little details and indents into the pillars themselves, sort of from a distance created the brick look I thought it did, or at least gave an impression of brickwork along the edges of all the arches. And as you know, with Roman architecture, they were the ones to really establish these arches as sort of a signature of architecture in general, and it's easy to see why, because they were very structurally sound, they worked well, they functioned properly, they were able to like use these giant aqueducts to transfer water long distances, and I tried generally to get the correct shape of it and how to get the scaling in the blocks themselves, and for the sides where it gets cut off by other things, I just sort of filled them in so it kind of matched what I could find. And on top of the small arches, there were, I believe, 36 of those, and then for the 2 layers beneath, there were 6 of them each, although they get a bit buried over that way, and only one had water sort of flowing through it, which is what I did here. And, yeah, in general, I just tried to match what I could and get what I could, as far as the architecture goes, into the game. And that is my final project.
Thank you, and that is all. Have a good day.